Hi everybody, it's Nikki again, and I am here to do a video that is my personal experience, not to be used as medical advice. A lot of personal opinion here, as usual, but I am here. I would love to be done with these Dawn phenomenon videos because they are also exhausting to me. I now live in a world of Dawn phenomenon conspiracy theories. It's not an easy world to be in, so I would like to be done with it. I am making another one of these videos because I feel like I'm miscommunicating really what it is that I've seen over and over again. And I was okay with continuing to plug on along and just say, have a few conversations here and there with people that I thought maybe were in need. Maybe they were seeing the same thing. Maybe I could just present this idea. But I think where I keep getting hung up with people is that I keep saying, it's not Dawn phenomenon. And that's very misleading because of course it's Dawn phenomenon. We all have Dawn phenomenon. I have it, you have it, my son has it, right? Like we all have it. What I was trying to say is that what I am seeing in auto mode, those rises in blood sugar. I know some people who are just seeing this first video is like, what is she talking about? I'm talking about the high morning blood sugars that I see over and over again in auto mode. And I'm just trying to say that this is not a result of Dawn phenomenon in my case. It does not mean I don't have Dawn phenomenon. It just means that that rise that I see in auto mode is coming from something else. It's actually coming from auto mode. I really want to make this clear to people, mostly because I made a video a couple weeks ago about Medtronic kind of putting out a statement about Dawn phenomenon tips. I personally feel like they're making this document at all because of so many people's concerns about their rising blood sugars in the morning. I personally feel like a lot of people, not all, I understand we're diabetic, anything can cause a blood sugar spike, but I feel like a lot of people are probably experiencing exactly what I experienced or something like it. And what's happening is they're getting a reduction in insulin overnight with auto mode, which is why we were able to avoid hyperglycemia with great success. But it is causing a rise in blood sugar in the morning because that's what happens when we don't get as much insulin as what we use. So again, I think I'm kind of confusing all of the stuff when I say it's not Dawn phenomenon. Yes, this is not debating whether or not it's Dawn phenomenon. This is auto mode reacting to auto mode, which is what it does all day long. It just so happens to be happening at a time where we also see rises in blood sugar because of Dawn phenomenon. So there's a lot of associating going on there that may or may not be true. And with Medtronic's kind of official statement to their trainers where they're saying this is what this is and we need to let people know that auto mode is doing its best to fight their profound Dawn phenomenon, and it can't help some people's profound Dawn phenomenon. It kind of made me feel a little bit angry because I felt like, you know what? I have figured out for myself that it was not Dawn phenomenon and auto mode that was causing that big spike. So if it wasn't that for me, then it might not be that for a lot of people. And if what we're working toward is a solution, then we need to start off with an accurate acknowledgement of the problem. And if the pump is causing the problem, that is very different. That sounds bad, but if the pump is causing the problem, then that's very different than our body's causing the problem. And it's going to end in different solutions. Okay, so I've said a whole bunch right now, 3.5 minutes in. I don't have no idea how to make these videos. I've done an experiment. I want to share that with you. I've done 6 days total. I did 3 days in manual mode, 3 days in auto mode, alternating. They were not consecutive. I had to do them whenever the opportunity arose. They're not perfect. This is not a science lab. I don't have any business trying to convince anybody of anything. I just want to show people what it is I've seen and how it is that I know that my blood sugar spike in the morning in auto is not from my body. It's from what my pump is giving me overnight. Whether or not there's a solution, I don't have any idea. I will also add that I have a Facebook group. There's lots of great open discussion going on there. And what I hear people saying is, first of all, lots of people are doing fake carbs in the morning. It's Medtronic says no, but people are doing that to fight this blood sugar spike. I've actually heard a couple people say that one person say that their endocrinologist, also a 670G user, is doing fake carbs in the morning. For me, I'm like, that's a red flag, because if our endos are tricking their pumps for insulin, then, then we're all in trouble. But Okay, and also another person who said from a medical professional, they received the tip to do a fill cannula in the morning to fight this high blood sugar because it wouldn't count against their insulin on board. I'm like, not a bad idea. And I'm like, that's great, but what kind of medical professional? And they're like, well, they would like to remain anonymous. I'm like, where are we? In what dimension are we in that our doctors are tricking their insulin pumps and they're remaining anonymous to try to get insulin from their insulin pump? And we're calling something Dawn phenomenon that might not really be that. Okay, now I'm way into it. So this is not going to be the experiment. This is just going to be my intro, and then 12 people are going to watch it. Half of them toddlers. Okay. I printed out because this is because I don't know what else to do. I printed out. I belong to another group who I absolutely adore. Great men and women. Not many of them are on the 670G. I happened to strike up a conversation with one who was on the 670, who is no longer in auto mode. And we had a fantastic conversation about our morning blood sugars and about auto mode in general. And he had the greatest line ever. And if I have time, I'll get to it. But basically, I was telling him about why I was mad at my 670, and he came in and had a few things to say. What he said about his morning blood sugar, and this is a very bright guy, he said the problem with auto wasn't just that it wasn't aggressive enough, but that the Guardian sensors, which on a whole I found pretty accurate, consistently registered low overnight, so they just weren't signaling that pump needed to start ramping up the doses to get ahead of Dawn phenomenon. So I went on to explain to him that I am stuck, because I'm borderline mentally ill at this point, on this whole Dawn phenomenon thing. And I explained to him my theory that this is not, I don't know him. I said, but I don't think that what you were fighting was Dawn phenomenon. I think you were fighting your auto mode. And I said, there's a far bigger problem than that, at least with what I've seen in my own numbers. Because those numbers are registering low overnight, and because of its target, the pump is often, auto mode is often delivering a very reduced rate of insulin throughout the night. So it's not just that it's not registering the need for insulin quickly enough in order to head it off, it's actually causing it. I could show you nights on my graph screen that have a solid line of pink dots all the way across, and my SG looks like I flatlined at a 120. It's lovely, but when you really start looking at those numbers, you realize how many of them were micros of 0.025. And that line really is a 140 and rising. So that climb I saw, and I'll say me, I think I said you, was a result of getting the equivalent of a temp basal. And when I added up all my micros, because I'm crazy enough to have done that time and time again, I would see that I had received a total of, say, 38% of my regular amount of insulin over the course of 4 hours. In one of these nights, I received 3% of my insulin on 1 hour, and 18% in the next. I did see a big blood sugar climb that morning. It is not Dawn phenomenon for me. I'm not arguing that I have Dawn phenomenon, but my manual mode is well prepared, and I know what insulin I need to get that. And this was his line that I thought really very much helped. He said, actually, it clarified what you were saying considerably. I agree that if the low overnight sensor reading is causing your delivery to undershoot your basal needs, irrespective of Dawn phenomenon, then it is going to make your BG rise, again, irrespective of your Dawn phenomenon. I don't even see that as particularly controversial. Same thing would happen if the same sensor problem were occurring in the afternoon or whenever. In that sense, it really just is a semantic wrinkle. Irrespective of Dawn phenomenon. This has nothing to do with Dawn phenomenon. It just happens to be happening over the course of the night, so we keep intermingling these two. I'm 9 minutes in and get to the experiment, but that's okay. I am going to post this. That's my intro to the experiment, and I will get to the experiment next. That's it. Thanks for watching, and bye.